Next on Beautiful Spaces. Looking for what's hot and trending on the market? Take a look at this.
On this week's episode of Trending, we have Nelson Mukwaya, a certified energy manager and an electrical engineer at MSalt Engineers Limited. Nelson, welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Pleasure is mine.
But before we go any further with this conversation, I would like to know what is the difference between an electrical engineer and an electrician? Because I know that a lot of people probably don't really understand the distinction between the two.
Okay. The electrical engineer is mainly the person who does designing of electrical installations. They carry out calculations, they carry out the sizing of equipment and so on. They do the planning of the installation. Okay. The electrician is the individual who is involved in the actual installation, the work of installation, and they normally do that under the supervision and guidance of the electrical engineer.
That's a really good insight because I know that from the very beginning I was thinking, okay, does everybody know what the difference is? So now that we know.
Electricians come in different categories. The electricity we have, for example, in Uganda has different complexities with the levels of voltage. The smallest houses you'll find have 240 volts. That's the lowest voltage we have in Uganda. The next level is 415 volts. That you'll find in very big houses, apartment blocks, and small commercial buildings. The next level is 11,000 volts. That you'll find on lines, these power lines, the overhead lines that you see running around. And then it supplies bigger commercial buildings. That's why you find a transformer that converts it to the lower voltages for use within the building. Above 11,000 volts, we have 33,000 volts. That is also lines, but these lines cover bigger distances. Then you have all the way up to 220,000 volts. That's the latest level we have in Uganda. These lines can go from one country to another. For example, from Uganda to our neighbors, because we do interchange of power. Now the electricians are qualified to handle those different voltages, and they have classes from class D down to class A. Class D will be capable of handling up to 240 volts. Class C will go up to 415 volts. Class B will go up to 33,000 volts. Then class A has no limitation. So you need to be able to establish the level of your installation and get someone who's qualified for that.
So can you tell us, Nelson, please, at what stage should the electrical wiring process begin in construction?
I would suggest that the earliest stage that you should think about wiring is when you're actually doing the designs for that building. At that point, you have to make a decision whether your cables will be contained in dedicated routes, or they will be in ceiling slabs, or they will be laid in walls. With such decisions, when you're planning your spaces, say with your architect, you can make such provisions. When construction commences, at different stages of construction, with the decisions you made at planning, for example, when the floor is being done, some cables are meant to run within the floor. At that point, you lay pipes, because installations are done in stages. The first stage for electrical installations is to lay pipes that will contain the cables. So when you're doing the floor, for example, before you pour concrete, those pipes should be in place. Before you do a ceiling slab, that is for storage buildings, before you pour concrete for your ceiling slab, those pipes and the wiring boxes must be put in place. Because if you do that later, you would need to cut, and sometimes you have limitations to how much
what is
cutting
actually
you can
possible
do without compromising the structural strength or integrity of the building.
Okay. So maybe you can also help us while we're still in this kind of nerve. You can tell us what are the do's and don'ts when it comes to this wiring process?
First and foremost, I would advise people to avoid surface wiring.
Okay. Can you please just
all cabling should
us,
be cabling should be invisible. People should be able to see sockets but have no idea where the cables are passing. People should not be able to see any cable hanging anywhere. These are, first of all, safety hazards.
Yeah.
Second, it doesn't look good. We are talking about beautiful spaces.
Yeah.
The sockets, for example, on the walls must be well leveled. They must be covering the opening that's behind them, because the opening is the entry of cables, but they must be covering it totally.
Yeah.
They must be put at the right levels. Now, in Uganda, we follow the British standards.
Okay.
The British standards recently were putting sockets at 30 centimeters from the finished floor level,
Okay.
maybe the tile level, and now they've changed to 450 millimeters. That is 45 centimeters. The switches, especially like in residences, are supposed to be put at 1.2 meters from the finished
From
floor
the floor
level.
level. Yeah.
We have fire safety taken care of, where we have fire detection. We have fire detection because if fire breaks out in any corner of the building, there's a detector put in all corners to be able to set off an alarm. We also have what we call break glasses, points that you strike in case you've seen a fire and you need to alert the entire.
Yeah. Then you just
the
go and
building.
break it, and then you
break
push the
it.
button.
They are put at certain levels.
Yeah.
For those ones, it's probably 2 meters. It keeps on changing.
Do you have any ways that you could suggest for these people to lower the amount of money that they spend on electricity?
Technology advanced on to fluorescent lights.
Yeah, the
We
ones
have
we
the
have currently.
tubes, and in residences we have what we call the energy savers. These ones created a saving potential of up to 70-80% of the electricity we spend on lighting. Now we have LED lighting, that is light emitting diodes, have improved electricity saving up to maybe 85%. Incandescent bulbs, the oldest, the cheapest, used to fail after a short time, within months. Replacing them was a common practice. The fluorescent lights brought in improved life of bulbs of up to 10 times, up to 20 times.
This episode has been wonderful, and it's been such an honor hosting you and learning so much from you. Thank you so much, Nelson.
Thank you for the opportunity to share my ideas.
Okay.